Now, obviously, after his emphatic loss, I know officially it's a win, but emphatic loss to Francis Ngannou. One thing I was actually thinking is that we all know Tyson Fury he does tend to have like an erratic personality. He's in his own words, he's described himself as being bipolar, and the news media have actually said it many times that he's like even just seeing the way he interacts with fans online and the news media. One minute he says that he wants to fight AJ for free and make it free for the fans. The next minute he wants to charge £500 million for the fight. And this is a guy who's very erratic. He's not stable. So one minute he makes a statement, and then the next day he'll literally contradict himself a couple of hours later in the same interview. So with his erratic personality, I think it's not beyond the realms of possibility to assume that this the backlash that he's getting from fans, the media, also the shock of getting dropped on his ass by Francis Ngannou, everyone saying that he lost the fight, the fact that they think Francis Ngannou got robbed and everything, like with all of that going on, and let's be real, there was a time when he did document himself as being going through depression after the win against Klitschko. It's very well documented that he ballooned up to like 10 stone overweight, drugs, alcohol, everything that he went through. And then obviously he lost the weight and then he managed to regain the title. But the thing you need to remember is this was based off backlash that he got after he made comments that was seen as anti-Semitic, and literally the whole world's media turned on him. But he was still coming off a win over Klitschko, which was the biggest win of his career, and he dethroned an undefeated. Well, he was undefeated for 11 years, a reigning world champion in Klitschko. With this situation, it's a little bit different. He's getting backlash, but but a lot of people thought he lost the fight against Francis Ngannou. So even though officially it's a win, a lot of people see this as a loss because he was going up there against a debutant, and a lot of people think he looked terrible. So my thing is this: I think Carl Froch mentioned it that he thinks Tyson Fury might go into a deep depression after this, and I think it could happen. The thing about Tyson Fury is just like in boxing, where he gets knocked down, he does always get back up again. So even if he does go into a deep depression, just based on his past, he's very resilient mentally, and he'll always find a way to get back up again and fight back and get back on his feet, because that's just what Tyson Fury does. He's a very strong mentally strong athlete. But the fact is, I still think there's a very strong chance that he could go into a deep depression. I mean, when he lays his head down on the pillow at night and he thinks about what happened, he knows in his own mind that he lost that fight, and he knows if the politics was not on his side for him to get the Usyk fight, the undisputed fight that was already signed by the Saudis, it's more than likely that he would have lost his titles if the titles were on the line. So I'm just thinking like there's a very strong chance that Tyson Fury may go into depression. Now, the one thing that I think may stop him from doing that is the fact that he's going to have to fight Usyk soon. So a lot of people, when they go through depression, I think doctors say just keep yourself busy, because when you keep yourself busy, when you allow yourself to think about your depression, it affects you more. But if you're constantly got other stuff to do and you're constantly keeping yourself busy and you've got things to prepare for and things to look forward to, it could keep them demons at bay. And I think the fact that he may have got the Usyk fight signed, I think for February, and he's got things going on and he's looking at getting back in there soon, it could be something that stops him going too far into depression. But I'll be honest with you, with the ass whooping that Francis Ngannou gave him, I would not be surprised if he does go into a deep depression after this. I mean, it's just based on his character, the erratic personality that he has, and the way he carries himself, and the way he's emotionally unstable to some extent. He's not the most stable guy at the best of times, so during the worst of times, it's not too beyond the realms of possibility to think that he can fall into a deep depression. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to stay there. I mean, it's just like Tyson Fury in a fight. He gets knocked down, but he never stays down. He always gets back up again. But I don't think it's unfair or presumptuous or crazy to assume that this loss that he's taken against Francis Ngannou is going to put him into some form of depression, especially in the short term, because of what you need to remember is Tyson Fury's delusions of grandeur has taken him to another level where he thought he literally was God's gift to boxing. Like, he literally thought he was an all-time great heavyweight. He was putting himself up there with the Mike Tysons, the Muhammad Ali's of the world, the Joe Lewis's. To see himself get his ass beat by a guy that's never had any experience in a boxing ring in Francis Ngannou, I mean, it's got to sting a bit, especially when you put yourself on such a high pedestal. To get knocked off that pedestal, I mean, it's got to hurt your ego. And I think that's what's happening with Tyson Fury at this moment in time. His ego has completely been shattered. His whole perception of reality has been shattered. It's very similar to when, ironically, when Deontay Wilder got bashed up and knocked out by Tyson Fury in their second fight. He's had this perception of himself that was so high in the sky, and he saw himself as being so much better than he was. So that when the reality of the situation comes crashing on him, it literally takes you on a tailspin, and it takes a minute or so to get yourself back on a wavelength of stability, because for the longest time your head was literally in the clouds. That's why Deontay Wilder was coming up with all these ridiculous excuses to why he lost the fight. He was mentioning the fact that the costume was too heavy, his water was spiked, his own trainer was in on it. All these ridiculous excuses, like blaming Mark Breland and all of that. The fact is, right, Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, to some extent, when they were at their high points, their delusions of grandeur, their massive ego, all of that was on a similar path. To some extent, they saw themselves as being bigger and more inflated. Their ego was more inflated than what it was actually based in reality. So when that reality comes crashing down, it's a sobering thought. It can affect even the strongest fighters. So, in my opinion, if he does fall into a deep depression, I would not be surprised. Just based on his character, what he's shown to us in the past, and the fact that his own mind was so delusional. He thought he was the best heavyweight of his era. So to go from the best heavyweight of his era to get bashed up the way he did against Ngannou, it's got to sting a bit. So tell me what you think below. Do you think it's likely that he could fall into a deep depression? I think it's likely it could happen. It can happen to the best of us. But, like, honest to God, despite the money that he's made, despite the fact that the undisputed fight may still go ahead, despite everything, he knows he's lost that fight. He knows Francis Ngannou absolutely beat his ass. I mean, he completely beat the brakes off him, and he knows that he got embarrassed in front of the whole world's media. He knows that everything that he's getting in terms of the criticism from his rivals like Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua, to everything that's going on, like the way that his own fans have turned on him, his own fans have turned quiet, everything that's going on, like he knows that he got embarrassed that night and he lost. Even though officially he won, he lost that night. So tell me what you think below. Do you think what I'm saying has some basis in reality, or do you think I'm being delusional, that this is Tyson Fury? He could come back from anything. He can come back from anything, but he's also human, and the fact that he took such a pasting from a guy who's a boxing debutant, who's never boxed before, it's got a sting. So tell me what you think below, and like and subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot more content coming your way. Peace.